Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Gensler, it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to visit with you. I don't send a lot of letters to you, and when I do, I try to make them as precise and clear as possible. We did send a letter on May 10th of this year along with a number of other members, and in it we asked for 3 specific items. We received a response back on one with a chart detailing rules that were being promulgated, but no response to our other 2 requests. Like I say, I don't ask for a lot of different items, but I really do expect that when we do ask a letter that we get an appropriate response back. Ranking Member Scott had basically said that he didn't feel that you were being responsive. And my question to you is there a policy that you have with regard to requests for information from the minority on the committee versus the majority on the committee?
I'd like to look and meet with you and see what the questions were. I'm glad to follow up and meet with you in person or over the phone if you wish. But we are responsive to individual members, to their questions, often policy and other questions that we respond to. We do, if there's an oversight request, that comes, as I understand it, from the rules of the Senate and the rules of the House, generally from the committee and the majority. But in terms of the day-to-day questions, we like to engage with you as you wish.
As I say, I don't ask for a lot, but when I do, I really do expect that we'll get a response back pretty clear on our requests. We didn't to the May 10th letter, and I will follow up with you, sir, because I think it's important. In this particular case, we were concerned about the pretty aggressive rule-making attempts that you have right now. In fact, you have 48 new ones, and I think a total of 60 that you were working through. And let me just play with one of them for just a minute. The technology clearly has played a central role to expanding the market access for institutional and retail investors. You have said yourself that we can use technology to make finance more inclusive and more accessible. However, you have not brought that attitude to the Commission, as is evident by the SEC's new predictive data analytics proposal. Although in name the proposal is targeted at emerging technology like AI and machine learning, the proposal creates a restrictive regulatory regime that will govern any analytics tool and is inconsistent with decades of legal and Commission precedent regarding the handling of conflict of interest, including the Commission's own fiduciary interpretation and regulatory best interest from as recently as 2019. I echo the comments of Commissioner Peirce that the new predictive data analytics proposal reveals the Commission's rather hostile attitude towards technology, or at least it appears an ignorance towards it. Mr. Chairman, was this rule intended to encompass essentially all computational tools, not just AI and machine learning?
It's actually technology neutral, and this is an important concept. Is like if an investment advisor, think about a robo-advisor, is telling you their advice, and it's only based on your family and your well-being and so forth, great, thumbs up. But if they're also taking into account their own interests, their profits, their revenues, and the like, therein lies a potential conflict. And whether they're using machine learning or they're using some other data analytics, predictive data analytics, there may be a conflict there, and then this proposal was to get public feedback on how to, in essence, neutralize those conflicts and address those conflicts.
Have you received a lot of responses back?
We are. I think the comment period might close October 10th, so it's a open comment period right now. But I would anticipate we'd get a lot of comment, particularly after the so-called gamification, the focus in early 21 on brokers using prompts to.
I'm hoping that you take a look at that and that we hear more about it before you make a final determination. And also, Mr. Gensler, Chairman Gensler, earlier this year, the Commission proposed the Safeguarding Advisory Client Assets Rule, which, as drafted, would ultimately transform the way in which a bank holds client cash. Requiring cash to be segregated marks a fundamental shift from current banking practices and for the first time would broadly require banks to segregate client cash deposits. My concern is that the SEC is inserting itself into matters at the core of the banking system, deposits, credit, payments, and specifically within the jurisdiction of prudential regulators. My question is, does the SEC have the authority to regulate custodial banks?
Oh, we put out a proposal that's actually based upon new authority that Congress gave us in 2010 about the assets held investment advisors and their custodial assets. And so that's why we were updating this. And for decades, we've had prior authorities as well, which is a yes to your question, around qualified custodians. Can be banks, they can be broker-dealers, they can be something called futures commission merchants, they can be at the federal level, they can also be at the state level. But then we have a role to say what is required of those custodial arrangements so that the investment advisor is not, losing, using, or misusing a client's assets.
Mr. Chairman, my time has expired, but I will follow up with some additional questions for the record specifically on this particular issue.
I look forward to it. I'm glad to meet in person as well.
Senator Cortez Masto's recognized from Nevada.